Greetings, everybody. Nina the Mystic here, and welcome to another Let's Talk, which is a variety show with Robert V and myself. How you doing tonight, Robert?
Doing great, doing great. We got the now I know where all the smoke comes from Canada, but it's here this time. Well,
Oh,
everything's on. All the fields are on fire,
are they?
having their
Oh,
own
no.
forest fires. So the smoke is coming from here. Anyway,
Wow.
um,
Yeah, there's all kinds
yeah,
of things going on, isn't it? But I was going to start the show with saying that we're going to do a little bit lighter show tonight. This month really. Try to break it off a little bit from sort of the what's going on. However, there's so much going on that it's hard to not want to talk about it.
well,
But yeah,
this is the greatest opportunity to talk about something like this because you have to be thinking about like what's happening in North Carolina, and we're talking about being thankful. The people that survived and the
mm,
have to be very thankful. There's people coming to help them. Maybe not the government, but normal, everyday, average people are donating their time and their goods to show up using mules and horses packed with stuff to climb up into the mountains, over the broken roads and through the rivers that have no bridges, to get to these people and give them supplies. Talk about the spirit of Thanksgiving right there in a nutshell is what the world is really made of. There are good people out there, and we need to be having a Thanksgiving because of people like them.
yeah, thank the gods there is people like that still in this world, which is great. I mean, I guess when you look at it that way, disasters sometimes do give us opportunities where we can be our best or we can see the best, in people.
Mm-hmm.
And so look at the bright side of things. But yeah, it's just been so much. And then I saw Biden sitting there giving away, what is it, 2.2 billion or something to Ukraine. At the
Yeah.
same time, it's not helping his own country with one of the biggest, I think, natural disasters that's ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's strange, like what's going on there. But anyways, that's not what this show is about. It's, I'm sure you all know what's going on in the world. I mean, but
But that's what I was saying. Without saying with the government, because the government is not there to come and help you, and even
yeah,
if they were, they're going to be late. It's just like police when they show up, they're there to record history.
right.
Because whatever has happened's already happened. Very seldom do they actually show up when the event is
Just
going
in time.
down.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Only in the
good
movies most of the time.
Samaritans
Yeah.
come to the
Yeah.
aid of normal, everyday, average people like you and me and everybody out there, stepping up to the plate and
Mhm.
becoming that I don't want to say savior, but yeah, in a way, you
To
bring
some, yeah.
goods to somebody who's starving. You are the savior because it's the human interaction that brings us all together. And sometimes it takes a disaster or a catastrophe to actually bring that out of people instead of the, stealing and the other crap that they do and cheating and lying and, all the things that, that are made up of bad stuff. Put it that way.
I know, and this is where, as a prepper, it's good to have all that extra because just in case you need to give it to somebody. It might not even be for you at some points, but
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean, even if you want to help, sometimes you can't afford it. But if you already have it on hand, you've already saved up and bought this over time and blah blah blah. Now all of a sudden you have a supply that you could go and help somebody else with as well. So it's not prepping is not just about you and your needs. It's in situations like this as well. So it's always good to prep, guys. When you got case lots, buy it. Just when it's on sale, buy it. Get extras and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
highly recommend doing that, obviously.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing what somebody would appreciate. We don't realize how important simple things can be. I was listening to Wrangle Star and he was talking, what do these people need? You know, and believe it or not, well, all the trees, they live in a treed area. So when the wind came and the rain came, the trees all fell over the roads, and maybe they could get to town, but now they don't have a chainsaw or a chain or bar oil, or maybe they had a little bit for maybe cutting up a a tree or two, but they didn't have enough to cut their way out of their place and to the road. And he says, if their neighbor would have had an extra chain and chainsaw, maybe a little bar oil, they could work together. And that's, so it doesn't matter.
It goes back to what I just said. Yeah, if you have a little extra, have a little bit more than what you need today, because just in case,
Yeah.
And
that's what I was thinking. It's just not, because most people, first thing you think about being a prepper, what do you think of? You think of storing food. Oh yeah, I'm going to load up on the food. And of course, nowadays it's the toilet paper too, but it's, you think of food, and it's not just food. It's having...
No, it's everything. I mean, just look at what happened there back east with the docks. Supply chain goes down for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, now you're not going to have the car parts. You're not going to have. So if well, in 6 months, I'm going to need a tune-up. Maybe I should go and get those parts now and just have them laying around. And that way I know I have them, so because sometimes it might take a while too. Even we still haven't quite recovered actually from 2020, So I know car parts and whatnot are still hard to find, and then certain countries now are, starting to get into situations over there. I don't even want to say the words,
Mm-hmm.
And we get things from certain countries. So that's going to put a stop to certain things as well. Whatever it is that, so, eventually these things will affect us,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
extras. Oh, yeah. Well, and it brings, and it's the thing about bringing people together. And just like on at least American Thanksgiving with the Pilgrims, brought the people together. They, they had a feast over the great harvest that they had. Some of the Indians showed up, and they celebrated apparently. That's what those people in North Carolina are doing. I seen video of it where they're cooking big pots of soup and food and stuff like that, and feeding the multitudes of people.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's literally all together, grouped, and this could be, if this was 200 years ago, this would be Thanksgiving.
Speaking of, so next week actually is the Canadian Thanksgiving. And so just a heads up, it won't be a live show. However, there will be great content. I got an episode with Arwayne Steiger, so stick around for that. So that's kind of what this show is all about. To me, it's always been about harvest. That's and so
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to share, because you weren't sure about the Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. I want to know what. I know what the American Thanksgiving is, and I've been put it since I was a kid in school. But then you hear Canadian Thanksgiving, and you think, well, it's on a different day.
Different.
What are they celebrating?
Yeah, so I looked it up, and this is from the official Canadian Encyclopedia there. Okay. So the first official annual Thanksgiving in Canada was celebrated on 6th of November. So that's interesting. So that was on 6th of November. So why are we doing it? Maybe they'll get to it in here. 1879. Though Indigenous people in Canada have a history of celebrating the fall harvest that predates the arrival of the European settlers. And so does the pagans in Europe as well. Pagans always observe the, harvest and, all the seasons and all that kind of stuff. That's what the pagan religion is based on. You know what I mean? Nature and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of, where it comes from. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But there was this guy here, Sir Martin Frobisher, and his crew are also credited as the first Europeans to celebrate a Thanksgiving ceremony in North America in 1578. So long before that. They were followed by the inhabitants of New France under Samuel de Champlain in 1606. The celebration featured the uniquely North American turkey, squash, and pumpkin, was introduced to Nova Scotia in the 1750s and became common across Canada by the 1870s. In 1957, Thanksgiving was proclaimed an annual event that's not even that long ago, 1957. Thanksgiving
Wow.
was proclaimed an annual event to occur on the second Monday of October. So that's why we celebrate that. So it's only been since 1957 that we've been celebrating on the second Monday of October. So mid-October. So next week for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is official statutory holiday in all provinces and territories except for Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. It's kind of weird.
And why is
Now,
that?
yeah, it makes you wonder, eh?
What? So half the almost all the country has Thanksgiving, and those people are excluded. That's just
Yeah, I don't know if they go into that here as to why or not. There's quite a bit. Do you guys want me to read all this or?
well, here I want to discuss something here real quick.
Uh-huh.
Because the thing is that the fur trade was big in Canada and Quebec area and stuff like that, and it almost makes sense to have a harvest celebration in the beginning of November versus the end of November, as does the United States have theirs, because by the end of November it's cold. You're harvesting, I'm harvesting stuff, in the middle of October, but by the end of October to beginning of November, you've picked all your stuff. It's all in the shed. It's all put up. It's all canned. You got as much as you're going to get. You're not going to be harvesting your pumpkins in the end of November without them being froze like a rock.
Yeah, it's all done by then. Yeah, for sure. So I see kind of why they picked like this time of the year, because we're everything is usually harvested now, or all the canning's done, and so now you gather together and have a feast. Especially if there might even be leftovers that you need to use up as well. So a good time to have everybody together and have a big feast.
Yeah.
But there's the thing here, the differences among the provinces. So Thanksgiving is official statutory holiday in all provinces and territories except for Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. It is called Action de Grace in Quebec and is celebrated to a much lesser extent there than in the rest of the country. Gives the holiday Protestants origin and Anglo-nationalist associations. The main difference among the other provinces tend to concern the dishes and are served with the meal. For example, Jigger's dinner is often preferred over turkey in Newfoundland. Pumpkin pie is a common dessert nationally, but there are also regional favorites such as Nanaimo bars in British Columbia and butter tarts in Ontario.
Do you know what those things are?
Nanaimo bar, yeah. So we have a place called Nanaimo here over on the island, and I'm assuming that's where they came from. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's common for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but what is it?
It's a bar, so you put it in a dish. It's layered, so you have what is it exactly in there? I don't know. It's a layer, and then it's got chocolate. The last layer is chocolate. It's like a fatty bar. Basically, a lot of butter and sugar, Of course.
Do you know what these other dishes are? Jiggers. What are jiggers? It sounds like worms or something.
That sounds like Irish or something like that. Must have come over from there.
But it does make sense that the holiday is centered around the Protestants, because the people that would have came to Canada, well, since you are under British control, they would have been Protestant versus the Catholics that came to North America, the Bible thumping Puritans.
Yeah. So they have the first Thanksgiving disputed. Some have argued that the ceremony of giving thanks celebrated by Sir Martin Frobisher was not a real Thanksgiving. The argument stems from the reason for giving thanks, that the holiday can only be associated with the celebration of the harvest. Europeans who brought the tradition to North America did mark the day by giving thanks for a successful harvest. However, the Canadian and American holidays are no longer restricted to harvest activities and have become a day for gathering family to give thanks for their general well-being. In that sense, one might observe that the tradition have come full circle.
Well, yeah, I can understand that because, back in the day, 90% of people were farmers. And
Yeah.
today, 10% of people are farmers or less. But the swing has happened so much, you would just automatically expect the traditions to change, as the
Well,
world
even
changes.
even city folk, a lot of them would grow a lot of different things. So, giving thanks for the harvest, whatever big or small that harvest is, you're going to be grateful for that because if you don't have it,
Yep.
it's going to be, a tough winter coming up. And that did happen sometimes. And so they've
Yep.
been through it and they know. So that's, when it is plentiful, you are very grateful, you know what I mean? And thankful. And so,
Well, even in town, most people back in the day had a garden in town. Having a nice mowed lawn was really not a thing until people got citified and stores came out and brought vegetables and fruits and
they
you
didn't need
know
to do it anymore. Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they didn't need to do it. And then of course they lived in cities where there were apartment buildings, and when you got an apartment building you don't need it. But like I know, like when I went to England um, and visited there, which was really kind of cool. I did find out one thing. So like if you have an apartment a building, or you live in an apartment building, they have to provide you with a growing lot, just
Hmm.
somewhere just on the outside of town. And because we drove through town, and then outside of town there was a big field, and there was tons of people out there, and it was one looked like one big giant garden.
Hmm.
And I asked a lot, of course, I asked a lot of questions. I was like, what's going on? And they were like, oh yeah, well, you get a 10 by 10 plot out there to grow whatever you want for vegetables and food and things like that.
Hmm.
So every apartment gets a little chunk of land to, just like here we have, you get an apartment building, you get a garage to park your car in and put all your junk in. And, there they get a little garden spot. How
Well,
about
that's
that?
a good idea. I know we have like a seed center here that you can rent a little plot if you want, which is a
Mm-hmm.
nice option for those who, live here in the city and, don't have the room. So there are those around now that you can go out and rent. But yeah, no, and I think we're going to be getting back to those days where every apartment should have their own little, because yeah, like the way things are going, it's the way to go. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. Or just,
I like.
I guess nowadays with the hydroponics and there's so many different ways of growing now though, isn't it? Like I was just thinking inside or apartments,
Yeah.
there's towers with lights and there's different things we can do, I
But
guess.
the thing is yeah, there's a lot of things we can do, but a lot of that is a lot. That's very expensive to have
Yeah, it's not
hydroponics.
cheap. No, I know.
You got
Yeah.
to have lights, and you got to have water and the minerals, and you got to have special this and that. I mean, sure, you can do it on the cheap too, but it still takes more to grow it like it is outside. Besides that, if you're growing inside, who's pollinating? You are. You got to go and pollinate unless you decide to have a big pile of bees in your little growing area, which I don't think you're going to want to do. So you have to pollinate all that. It's a lot. It's a big job.
It probably is, isn't it? Yeah, I know. I haven't really looked into it. I don't know. But I've seen them around. So, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of when you visualize even like a space shift, they have areas of growing food in there,
Yeah.
So, there's ways of doing it. I know that. So,
And the thing is, it still takes time. You can't just make a tomato plant grow instantaneously and produce fruit tomorrow. It still takes 30, 60 days or whatever before the tomato actually comes out on the plant so you can eat it. It's a process, and they only go so fast. No matter how hard or what minerals you give them, it only goes so fast.
Yes,
Anyway.
absolutely. So I see there's quite a few people here. Welcome everybody. We're almost a half an hour in now. I thought we would do sort of half of the show with Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff, and then we're going to do some free card pulls from the Halloween decks.
Oh, absolutely.
So so if anybody's interested in getting a mini little reading here, comments. Leave me a comment in here that you want one, and we can get to that section of the show.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, absolutely. I know Max said something about
what are you grateful personally, Robert? What are you grateful for?
Well, this year I am grateful that I have this new place that I'm living with a good plot of land. It grew a great garden. I had a great harvest. I am just very thankful that I have my health. I have, my backyard full of food, and life has been treating me very well. I can't ask for more than that. Sure, I have my toils and spoils, but there's a lot more ups than there is downs. So very thankful for the way things are.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you've had a lot of change in the last year. It's been a year now almost since you moved in there. And,
moved in November.
A lot of hard work. Put a lot of hard work into it. So that's so awesome. Yeah. You're living the life, that's good. That you got everything is good, going good for you, So hopefully it stays that way, and just be in that grateful kind of energy, and more will come to you, instead of looking at the things that aren't going great, just focus on all the things that are.
Exactly. I mean, I had my mind focused, I manifested things, I moved forward in life, and that turned out pretty good, which is what everybody needs to do. A lot of people think that if they just sit back, good things will just show up on their doorstep, and it doesn't happen. You have to put in the work. You can't just with magic. We'll talk magic since you're going to pull cards and stuff. You can pull all the cards you want for whoever wants a card. But when the card is read and it says, good things are coming to you, pay attention to blah, blah, blah. And if they just listen to the thing and then they just forget about it, or they don't improve their life, or don't do what, kind of what the card says for them to do. Like, I remember you pulled a card for me and it said something about needing to take a break, relax, get some more sleep, don't overstress yourself. If I didn't pay attention to that, which I did, remember I took a break for a few weeks there, and I rested up, and I really needed that. But in my mind, I kept saying I could do it, and I'm glad I did take that break, because if I didn't, I would be, I would have probably run myself right off the road, kind of thing. That would affect my health.
That's just
affected everything.
Sometimes we need a reminder, and that's kind of what a reading is all about. Sometimes we just either need a confirmation on something that we already know, or a reminder that, hey, you know what, maybe you should slow down a little bit. Or that comes up quite a bit, especially for guys. I find a lot of guys are workaholics and, tend to burn the candle on both sides kind of thing. And you have to
do the work, you have to pay attention, and you have to, you can't just let it fly by, because it's like, then it doesn't mean anything. A meaning, it's like reading a book. You can read a book, but if you didn't understand anything it said, you just read words, and that's all it's good for. I read a book and it was just all words, and I didn't retain anything. Ask me any question, I can't answer any of it. So then why'd you read it? Even if it took you longer to read, You know, these people who speed read. You heard of the speed readers? They can read so darn fast. Well, anybody can read words really fast, but retaining any of the stuff that you read, that's the trick.
And that's where the skill comes in. So I guess if they're able to and they can recite the whole thing after, well, good for them, I guess, right?
Well, yeah, but that's the whole thing. Anytime you gather something and it becomes wisdom, is it better to have one thing of wisdom, or is it better to have a whole box full of little things and none of it that you understand? You'd rather have one thing and have some wisdom on one thing than a whole bunch and not know anything. So there you go. And I say that to everybody. So there you go. That's my 2 cents for today.
Oh, there you go. Well, I'm grateful for you having you here, Robert, every week. And, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate every single person, all my Patreons. You guys are what makes these shows go around. So if you are enjoying the content, please consider joining us up on Patreon. And there's also links down below for merch and donations. I got sticker packs, different ways of supporting the channel. All those links are down below, as well as Robert's channel. Make sure you go and subscribe over there if you haven't. And so I got Star Ruby here. Now I don't know how many people are here right now. It doesn't look like a lot of people, so I probably will be able to get to most of you. But if all of a sudden it just gets crazy busy, I can't sit here all night. So we'll do a few here for sure. Especially my Patreons. I see there's a few of you here, and welcome. If you're wondering how you can get a blue wrench, go check out Patreon. All right, so I got to 2 decks here. You saw them on the thumbnail. The one is called the Halloween Oracle, and the other one is Season of the Witch. And I guess a little disclaimer that these cards obviously are Halloween. They're this spooky season kind of cards, so the reading might get a little darker than it usually does. Just a warning.
Do you want me to sift through and write everybody's name down and as you go?
If you want to do that,
I can do that.
Sure.
While you got the good cards. So I'll write everybody down. We got Star Ruby is up, and
Star Ruby is first.
First, yes.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit darker than what we, kind of how the cards talk usually, because I don't actually even use a traditional tarot deck, just because of some of the words in there, and people get a little frightened or whatever. So,
Monique wants to know if these are readings or questions to be asked.
So no questions. I'm just gonna pull one of each deck and see what I get for you. What message? Okay. So completely different than how we do it on Hump Day. So that's the way to do it. We got to switch it up a little bit, right? Do it a little bit different and see what we can get. That's what I mean. I was practicing here yesterday, and I could see that, some of the readings can get a little dark. So just keep that in mind. But that's kind of this is the spooky season, and so just take it with a grain of salt, right? So so I got the one deck in here. So let's see here. Star Ruby. Whoa. Okay, well, I'm gonna take that one, the first one, over to the next one.
Okay, if you're in the chat, I got your name wrote down. We got Star Ruby. I think Monique wants a card. I think yes, Monique wants a card. Star Ruby's up. Monique is on deck. Max Vision, are you still here? Do you want a card? And
okay, so Star Ruby, we got Graveyard, Unnecessary Fear, Seduction. Now they got a thing underneath this here. Let me see what it says. Hear the roaring of flames with the masterful trance that calls upon heaving chest. Give in to its alluring grip, if you please. But heed my warning of the claws that draws blood without mercy. So, I don't really go by that. Unnecessary worry around seduction, as in dating. And I think that's kind of a perfect card for you. You know, since you are Patreon, I do know a little bit about you. You know, so I know you're single. You're still looking, I think, unless you've something new has happened since last. But this has been a worry for you, and so this is just a great little message of no worries, okay, around the whole seduction. I mean, the cards can only say so many words. So, as in the seduction game, which is the dating game, essentially. So that's great news, Star Ruby. I think that's a good one for you. But yeah, give us some feedback if you don't mind. And if you guys don't mind, please hit the like and share this out. I should have said that in the beginning of the thing because you know, people, yeah, in order to get a reading, you have to be here live. So you guys better share this out like right now, you know, and see if we can get some new people in here. That would be nice. Get your friends in here. I don't do this very often, so yeah, this is one of those opportunities. So who's next here now then? Let's see if I
Monique Salazar is up next.
Okay. I'll
Now,
just oh, you don't need a number or anything, sweetie. Yeah, I'll just grab your name so you know the name. So if you want to come back and re-listen, then it'll be easier for you to find it, as you can see your name pulled up there. But yeah, we're not doing numbers or questions or anything. It's completely different than what we normally do. So 2 cards, 2 decks.
Monique is up. Max Vision's in the hole, and Jackie J is, or no, Max Vision is next. Or yeah, kind of I'm losing it now. Monique is up. Max Vision's on deck, and Jackie J is in the hole. There you go. It's a rodeo thing. You ever been to rodeo? That's how they go. Well, first, second, and third.
Well, this ain't my first rodeo, so there you go.
Yeah. And if this resonates with you, leave it in the comments. I'm reading the comments, and I'll bring it up, or let us know if Nina's doing a good job. Puns, yes, puns. Okay.
Okay, so you got the lamp, remembrance. And you got the frog. Now I'm going to read and see what does it say here. May the lily beneath your breast allow you to drink from its healing waters. Be still, for there is serenity behind the drowning croaks. Let's see what I'm getting from the card. Definitely the remembrance thing is sticking out for me, for you, Monique. Okay, remembering, okay. I'm trying not to draw from other things that I already know from you, so we don't get personal in here. I got to try to say it in a different way. Just remember how it once was. Okay, and draw the healing from that instead of focusing on the negatives, essentially. Yeah. Draw from the healing waters of that message rather than the bitterness that could come. That's kind of what I'm getting. So I hope that makes sense. I know these cards are kind of, they're a little darker than, your regular cards. So, yeah. So who's next on here now?
Max Vision's up. Jackie J's in the hole, and
Max Vision is next. I'm trying to find his name.
Yep, Max Vision.
Oh, he must be.
I don't know where, if he's. I hope he's still here. But anyway, he was here. I know we got
Max Vision. Are you still here?
There was it says 7 people in the chat, and I don't know if he's here. But he was here, and so was Smoke, and G Sharp was here. Yep, there you go.
That's a comment from a ways back, though. So let me know comments. If you can comment, just let us know that you're here. Because
Yeah.
otherwise we're just kind of wasting our time here. But
Yeah, Jackie J, you still here? And
did
then
he
we got.
say he wanted one though? Like, because I don't
Yeah,
see
I just
any.
wrote down all the people I've been trying to get them to comment, but everybody's pretty quiet.
Yes,
Sunset
they're not commenting that
Sunset Dreamer in the house.
Yeah, just because they're here doesn't mean that they want a message. So
Well,
unless
well,
they've actually commented saying yes, I would like a message,
yeah,
then we don't have permission to do that. So
I
and
get
I don't
that.
even see
I'm
him in
just
here.
saying is
So.
I've been trying to, but nobody's commenting much.
Okay, well maybe nobody wants, and hey, no skin off my back if nobody wants.
Well,
Then I'm done. I see Jack Jay's in here.
yeah,
Stars,
yeah, that's what I said. I
yeah,
got Jackie J, Sunset Dreamer,
Dreamers in
Max
here.
Vision, Smoking G Sharp. They were all in here earlier, but
They may have
nobody's
left when we started this, right? So that
maybe. I don't know. It
not,
says there.
not
I'm looking at the
everybody's to
feed, but
this.
Anyway.
Oh, the pun resonated with you, Monique? The frog?
Yeah.
Ribbit.
Puns. Yeah, ribbit. I love it.
Ribbit. Yeah.
Yeah. What makes a good?
Yeah, nobody else is here. Well, it said we can tell 7 people are in here, but
Yeah,
unless you
that's what I
comment.
said. I think that 7 are
So in the
listening.
meantime, until somebody does say that they would like one, then we can just continue on with whatever we're grateful for.
Anyway, we'll be grateful for something. Anyway, I think people have like said, the holiday is changing, and it was talking about how the holiday changes. What do you see? How about let's ask, what do you see for the future of Thanksgiving?
I think we're going to be going back to the way it was originally. And I think with all the holidays, because it's just gotten out of hand with the consumerism and, it's just ridiculous. It just used to be about the meal, that's it. Not all these other stuff from China, essentially. And that's the thing. Once the supply is, we're not going to have all this stuff no more. We're going to be going back to kind of, more quality items rather than cheap and then replacing it every year or every 5 years whenever you decide to redecorate because it's so cheap, you might as well. You know what I mean? Going back to more quality furniture that you keep for the rest of your life, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Well, and that's true, because back in the day when you had that quality furniture, a lot of that stuff was handcrafted. There was no big giant super factory somewhere in some foreign country to make something and bring it over here and stuff it in a store and sell it to you for like pennies on the dollar. And you're like, wow, I gotta get a whole table and chair set for $49.95. But back in the day, that table and chair set was made by a craftsman who used the finest wood he could find, and he made a beautiful table, putting his blood, sweat, and tears into that, and then sold it to you for just enough to cover his cost and, maybe provide for his family. And today, with all the rules and regulations that the government puts out for all of these things, people can't do any of that stuff. And, you can't make something and really sell it without finding it in some catalog for a third of the price. And then it's like, why am I doing it?
People don't want to pay for the craftsmanship. Like I remember my grandparents in Europe, they whatever they bought after they got married, they died with that. Like that stuff was so heavy. Like it was almost impossible to even lift and whatever. Like it was solid. And that lasted your whole life, like that's what I'm saying. Like same with the chandelier. Yeah, they have beautiful, huge chandelier. I mean, they still had it when they died, like you didn't go and change everything out all the time. And they had like real oil paintings, from some artist, on the wall, not just some, now you just go to IKEA and you got to put it together yourself even. And then,
Yeah,
oh, God,
and it doesn't last. It's made of chipboard, and the day it gets wet or gets warped or gets humid or something, it all starts to warp. And then, but see, it was so cheap that you just go buy a new one, and
so it's more disposable.
no matter how
everything
good
is disposable nowadays. That's the problem, with society.
Yes, and so I
So
I think we know it's disposable, and because we know it's disposable, we don't take care of it as well. Because no matter how good you take care of it, it's going to break. It's just made to break, and then you can't even buy parts for it to fix it. So why take
no,
care of
it's a thing. Like, a lot of people lost their jobs, like the TV repairman. Like he's long gone. There's
it?
a
Yeah,
lot of jobs that yeah, you used to fix it. Not just replace it. But
sure.
now they've made it that way, though. That you have to
Mhm.
keep. Going
Well,
back to the
well,
whole light bulb thing. The first
yeah,
light bulb is still running. It's still. You know what I mean? So yeah,
yeah.
but
Well, like shoes. Shoes is a good example. Shoes. Most shoes were made out of leather. And when your shoe went bad, you took it to the cobbler, who
mhm,
most towns had a cobbler who would fix and repair your shoe and sew it back up and put a new piece of leather and, put
yeah,
new soles and heels on it. And off you go. You could have a pair of shoes last you for years and years and years, for a pennies on the dollar because the cobbler could fix them up for a few bucks.
mhm,
And little by little by little, I know when I was younger, um, and I had a pair of it was I must have been like 18 or 19, and I had my first pair of cowboy boots, and boy, I was so excited. Well, after a summer or two, they got kind of wore out, and I went to the cobbler in town, and he fixed them up, and sewed them and put new heels, and they were like brand new. I was all tickled pink for like $10 or something. It was cheap,
mhm.
and after a couple more years, he was gone, and that was it. I suppose people were like, "Well, for $80, I can go buy a new pair of shoes, brand new. Why am
Yeah,
I getting mine fixed and wearing the same old dirty shoe again?" Uh, it's just the way it is,
yeah.
and so he went out of business too. Like you
Yeah,
said, the TV
look at the
repairman.
carbon footprint that everybody's, leaving, and I see it too.
Mhm.
And actually in my town now, they've changed around the recycling. The government is no longer doing our recycling now. It's going
Uh-huh.
to be something else. And I was reading and it said that the local businesses were paying for this because they
Oh boy.
figure they're the reasons why we have to recycle in the first place with all the packaging on everything. It's just so much consumerism, and like you said, going to buy new all the time. Like it's just too much stuff, and it all
Yeah.
lands on the landfill eventually.
Exactly.
And
But then who's going to be paying for the recycling? Either way, the consumer is paying for the recycling because
that's
that
what I
business
was
is going to
thinking
just
too. Because
tack
if
it
the
onto the
business
price.
is paying for it, then they're going to have to yank up the prices now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, my son was saying, oh, it's probably going to come out of our property taxes, but I'm thinking that means your property tax is going up. Then you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's Happy New Year to us over here, I guess.
Well, yeah.
Not so thankful for that, but Now I
Yeah.
wonder. I bet you our rent is going to go up too, then, because now all of a sudden our apartment building going to have to pay for this.
Yep.
Then I guess who's paying for it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. More recycling, and we got to have somebody pay for it, and they ain't just gonna we'll just pay for it and call it good, because we're making so much money. Can't dig into their profits, but like, but that's what it all is. It's literally junk stuff, plastic stuff. Everything's made out of plastic. Nothing's made to last. Uh, and when it breaks, you throw it away and buy a new one. I found that out with a lawnmower. I got a lawnmower, and all of a sudden one day it just quit running. Eventually, I figured out it was the carburetor. Well, you can't just buy the little gasket that goes in the carburetor or something. You have to buy the whole carburetor, and then you put the whole carburetor on. Well, that's just a lot more junk because you know what? It's all made of plastic. It's all one piece. Otherwise your mower is junk without that carburetor.
hmm
It ain't like you can take it apart and clean it and fix it. It's probably just a little piece of dirt that got in there, but you need a whole carburetor. Um, but all the things are made like that. Every car is made like that. You think the cars that you're driving today will be around in 50 years? Will they even make parts for those cars? Once that computer, thing in your car breaks, well, they don't make another computer for that. That's so far outdated. Nobody's going to be fixing that. They'll be fixing a Model T long after all those cars we're driving today are broken.
So I'm kind of glad that I got an older vehicle, because just the whole them being able to take it over, that freaks me out. I've seen enough movies with that happening, and that just freaks me right out.
Yeah.
So for that reason alone, no, I don't know where the car industry, they went with the electric, but I do believe they're ditching the electric now and going with the, what is it, hydrogen or something rather. I can't remember what they're doing now, but so hopefully they'll figure it out. I mean, whatever
Well, when you get this all electric car, it's great, but a lot of these Teslas, they got to have updates. You got to be connected to the internet, and it's great until something breaks, and then you're stranded on the side of the road, going, "Who fixes this?" I mean,
and apparently the battery is so expensive, and it has to be replaced every couple of years or something like that. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And then it's not great for the environment to have to recycle it and everything. So so that didn't work out. So we're not doing that. And also you can only go so far because you have to keep plugging it in all the time. We're not going to have a charging station every 2 feet, come on now. So that's just not feasible. And so I think that they're starting to ditch that whole thing.
Yeah, the people don't want to buy them. At first, it was quite the novelty, I think, to buy an electric car. Ooh, I'm saving the environment, and it's really powerful. And boy, it does all these things, and it's got all these tinker toys inside. It tells you self-driving, just like the Jetsons, kind of thing. Futuristic. Look at the Cybertruck. It's futuristic looking, and who doesn't want to be futuristic? But the bad downfalls of it, like you said, the batteries, they get wet, they're lithium, they start on fire, and then you can't put them out. It's also, like you said, if it breaks down, who's fixing it? You got to get the special technician, because you can't take a Joe, the backyard mechanic. He's not going to know how to do that or find the codes. And then you got to, like all the dashes are LED screens. When one of those goes bad, who's going to have one of them in 50 years? Nobody. If it goes bad, you're going to be like, well, they don't make that anymore.
Isn't it funny, when we were kids, we were watching the Jetsons thinking that, oh yeah, this is how it's going to be when we get older, right? Well, none of us come. Like, they withhold all that technology from us. So I am kind of looking forward to all the new stuff coming out and getting some new, being able to maneuver around a lot better than we are now and stuff. And, so.
But is it better maneuvering if they're literally watching every move you make? Like, what was it? The car companies saying that they're literally recording or listening. They have listening devices in all the new cars, and they're listening to you. Well,
if you have one of these, they're listening to you all the time
anyway. Listening to you too, exactly. And you don't get this for free. You got to pay for them, and you're paying money to have that, so they can listen to. It's what an ingenious plan. If I was a evil mastermind, I would be like, they're gonna. I'd be Dr. Evil. Oh, they're gonna pay me $1 billion.
$1 billion, I know, right?
A million. $1 million.
Oh, I
know. That's the laugh down. I love it. $1 million. Then I'll listen to them. What a futuristic thing. But now it's here. And then, like, now they're saying, well, they're going to put a tax on not the gas tax, but they're going to tax you per mile you drive. Well, people are going to be like, well, I wanted to go visit somebody, but I have to think about all the miles I'm going to drive to get there and back. I'm going to put on 1,000 miles, and that's going to cost me $50.
They're going to tax you for carbon tax on your farts. They're going to be carbon tax on, just breathing. Now, you've been breathing too much this month. We're going to have to cut you off.
Yeah.
You'd have
wasn't
to
there
pay
that
extra.
movie? There was a movie about canned air. I can't remember.
Mm.
I think it was a
I remember that.
uh,
I saw that too.
it
And
was a
yeah, and the way they're polluting, I mean, it wouldn't take much really to that being reality. It's
yeah,
almost like that in China now with the pollution over there. I mean,
yeah. Let's
you
let's
know.
sell canned air. They sell everything anyway. It's like you buy storage space in the cloud, but you don't know where the cloud really is. It's out there somewhere, but you can
Mhm.
retrieve your information as long as you keep paying.
Right.
And I just can't get a load of how people will buy music and videos and movies and all this information, stick it on the cloud, but the moment you stop paying, you don't own any of
Mhm.
that.
I know.
you
Then
know
it's gone then if you stop paying. Yeah, I know.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
I never did that either. No
Yeah,
thanks.
you could have thousands of dollars wrapped up in it, and it's gone. It's got to pay your
Mhm.
$5 payment. It's hilarious.
I
It
know.
really is because
It's
it's
like this
true.
Dropbox. I keep getting this notice from Dropbox. Oh, your Dropbox is full. You're gonna have to go and pay for it now. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm not paying for it. No, I'll go
just
without.
delete what
Thank
you
you.
got in there, and then just use it. They let you have this much space for free to get you
I don't even
hooked.
think I have anything in there. I don't know. I don't remember putting anything in there, but I don't know. If I did, whatever. I don't care about it. No.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's there, but they sell you space, sell you air. Like what was that? The evil mastermind guy says you will own nothing and be happy, and but that's the way the world's going because people are
Yep.
taught not to clutter. Oh, I got to throw everything away. I used it once. What about going through your closet? Oh, you haven't wore that in a year, throw it away. You
Yeah.
haven't used that in a year or two, throw it away. You know, um, and it's like, okay, but what if I got it, and it's like new. Why am I throwing it away? Because I didn't wear it? Maybe I gotta wear it. Rotate your clothes or something, but
Yeah. Well, there's a
either
fine
way.
balance between, being a hoarder and having a lot of clutter, which there's a lot of issues that goes along with that. To
Oh yeah,
all of a
yeah,
sudden living in a tiny home where you have to downsize everything. And, the way that they want it is that you're going to rent everything. So if you need a new outfit for the weekend, going somewhere fancy, you just rent that outfit and then you bring it back. That kind of thing.
hmm
You need a ride. You don't need your own car. The Uber or whatever it is comes, picks you up. Like, yeah, that kind of thing. So nobody
yeah,
owns anything. We don't need to have stuff.
yeah.
You want to make some waffles? Well, we'll rent you that waffle maker for the weekend and then you bring it back. You don't need to have it sitting in your closet most of the time. And that's like clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Like shoes and clothes, like especially women. We only wear it once and then it just sits there. Why not let somebody else use that clothes then? You know what I mean? So I do see the benefits of all of this, like honestly, because we do waste so much.
That's
We
true, but
do.
that's the
It's
conditioning that we have. So let's turn the clock back 100 years, and back in the day, most people had a good Sunday going suit or clothes for
mhm.
you had a good suit, and you had like maybe a pair of pants or maybe two that you rotated, and that was it. You didn't have a closet full of space with you know shoes for every day of the week. Oh well, it's Friday. I got these comfortable shoes, and then I got slippers, and then I got boots for winter, and I got two pair of boots. I got to have the big mucklucks for when it's wet, and I got to have the big other ones when it's really snowy. I mean. How many pairs of shoes do you need? Well, nowadays you got to have like 20 pairs of shoes because there's one for every occasion. And then which ones are you wearing the most? The other ones,
Mhm.
yeah, I wear them big boots once or twice, and then but anyway,
Yeah.
but
I
you're
mean,
right.
I see it from both sides. Yeah.
Uh,
Even, we talk about women and clothes and shoes and whatnot, but that also goes for the guys with all their tools. You got one
well,
guy there with like so many tools, doesn't even know what he's got, and then the other guy doesn't have any at all. So
but
and
back
you
in
don't
the
need it; just sits there. Like, how often do you use all those tools? Not very often. You could
Well, and
easily just order it for when you need it and then bring it back, you know.
well, yeah, but then when something breaks and you can't get to the store, or like okay, we'll use the North Carolina thing. Some of
No,
the
no, you
stores
just you
were
just
full
dial
of
the number, and the drone comes with it, drops it outside your door within an hour.
in
They'll
a
have it
perfect
immediately. Oh
in
yeah,
a
it's all
perfect
drones. So
world.
there's no more cars. There's no more, trucks driving around. It's just drones. They'll just
Yeah,
drop
but
it at
in,
your
in
little
a
drop box.
and that's right. In a
Yeah.
perfect world, everything like that works great. But it's when this disaster comes along and you go, well, I got to call the place and they'll fly me over a chainsaw because I got to cut this tree right now. But 3,000 other people asked for the chainsaw too, and I'm on a waiting
Well,
list for a
no,
week.
we're probably shit out of luck either way, whether it's in the
Yeah.
future or now calling the government. Okay, if you
Yeah.
have to prep yourself, right? So
Oh, yeah.
even in a situation like that, I still think it's just natural human nature to stash some stuff away. I mean, what if the drone doesn't make it this week? I gotta get, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, so
Yeah.
maybe
No,
I
no.
don't eat all that this week. I'll stash some away for next week because you never
Yeah.
know, and you just start, yeah, that's
Well,
just human nature,
well,
it's
yeah,
like the
you're right.
squirrels.
The drone thing is great, but having it on hand, like you said about the tools, years ago you didn't need many tools. All the cars could be fixed with a
Hmm.
set of wrenches. You have a good set of wrenches, pretty much
Hmm.
fix every part. Every wrench was all. Then they came out with metric, and then you had to have metric, and then you had to have sockets, and then you had to have extensions, and now they got star wrenches, and they got hex wrenches, and they got special tools to take all the little clamps off, and now you're going to have a computer to diagnose. You've seen those ads where it says get the thing for your app for your phone, and then you just plug it in or something, and it
Yeah.
tells you what's wrong with the car. And well, now you need a computer to diagnose your car so you can actually fix it, and so forth and so on. So it just starts getting more and more. And then even when you
Actually,
can,
that thing is really handy, especially for people who are not mechanically inclined, to be able to
mm-hmm,
plug it in and see exactly what you need. Because taking it into the mechanics, he'll tell you whatever. Oh yeah, you need this. You may not need all that, and you can prove it. Say no, I just need this. This is all I need. This is what the code is. Just do that, please. Like so. There's so
yeah,
many ways of looking at things. There's good and
yeah,
bad with absolutely everything, and that's
oh
the
yeah.
thing. So
But that's like I say, it's just another one of those tools you got to add to your tool bag because it makes life that much easier. I mean, even if it's something simple as changing one of those like the oxygen sensor, well, you got to have a special wrench for that. If you don't, and then these companies like Ford came out with these fuel line hoses, and you had to have the special tool to take off the fuel line hose because it's the only way to do it. And if
mhm,
you're not, you break the little plastic pieces and you can't change your fuel filter. Who wants to do that? But then you got to buy the tool.
right. It's
Yeah.
almost like they did that on purpose, eh? So they can sell you more
Yes.
tools. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
the thing. We need to rein it all back to the way it was, sort of. So we all,
Yeah.
just basic shit. We don't need all it. Again, consumerism. In every industry, it's like that. And so we
Yeah.
need to rein it right back down to, what really do we need,
Yeah.
really, right?
Well.
And
Yeah.
so, and
I
that
mean,
goes for
and
every industry.
and the convenience. Like now, you can get HelloFresh, and they'll bring you your all the things instead of shopping at the store for the carrots, the onions, and the thing to make the stew. They give you a recipe. They give you all the vegetables, ship it to your door for a price, and then oh boy, now I can cook. Like you couldn't go to the store, you couldn't buy these things. Oh well, you take a trip back in time a little more, and it's like, oh well, I grew a garden and I have those things and I can those things. And I have them right in my basement. And I just
Mhm,
get them. And then look, I have the carrots, I have the onions, I have the potatoes, and I have the meat.
mhm.
I can make the food right now. Bam. Whereas now you get a drone who delivers it to your door fresh with a recipe. And even if you don't know how to cook, you can make it too. What a selling point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, just thinking as a single mother, it was busy all the time. That doesn't sound so bad at all. I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
having that. All I have to do is put it together, and here you go, boys. You got a fresh, wholesome meal. Wouldn't it be nice if the
yeah,
stuff that we actually did get delivered was actually good for us, with lots of nutrition in it and no
yeah.
pesticides, and like.
Hmm.
So there's, like I said, there's plus and minus with all of these things, right? So,
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
um, yeah, what I
exactly.
don't
And when
like
there's
is when
a,
the choices are taken away. Like, that's great if you want to live like that, but you should also be able to not live like that if you want to. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, have a farm and do it all yourself, like, you should be able to do that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what I don't like. And the whole privacy thing, that's another thing that bothers me as well. That there's some things just aren't their business. So yeah, so that worries me a little bit. But other than that, there's a lot of pluses with what's coming and the
yeah.
technology
Well,
that's out there, and I'm looking forward to a lot of it. Like,
well, yeah. I
so
mean, think about it. They're listening to you in your car, and you're talking about, boy, pizza sounds really good. Well, the next thing you know, you're getting pizza ads,
yes,
and
I know.
pizza could be delivered to your house, fresh. Blah blah blah. Well, that's great advertising because you're doing direct advertising to that person. So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I've noticed that. I mean, it's kind of creepy because you'll be thinking about something, and next thing you know, the ads are popping up. So that's another thing that kind of worries me. Like, how far has this stuff going? Are they able to, like, or read my brain waves? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they've come up with that. I would be brilliant, so that they know exactly what to advertise and be able to sell you more stuff. Again, coming down to consumerism. On
yep.
the other hand, though, like, because I'm a Gemini, I can always see the other side. On the other
Hmm.
hand, if I was going to be ordering pizza anyways, it's very convenient that there it is. I was going to be
Yeah.
doing that anyway. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
there's that. But yeah. So yeah, everything can be used for good or bad. That's the thing. And so
Yeah.
being aware, though, I think is the beginning. If you're aware of what's happening, that's what they're doing to you. And then you're able to make choices. So I was like, okay, well, I want to participate in that or not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's absolutely true. I mean, but it could get, like you said, it works both ways. Remember in what was it, Back to the Future 3 or 2, where he goes into the future, and his older self is got a job, and he says something, and because the boss is listening into his house, and he says something about the boss, he gets, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired, and
mhm.
like, yeah, but see, that's that kind of stuff where they monitor you all the time. It'd be like, oh, I said something bad about the boss, and all of a sudden I get a alert on my phone. Yeah, you're fired. Like, what?
No,
Meaning
I
my
know.
own
I've
home.
seen those little cartoons about that, where they are monitoring your brain waves, and they can tell. Like, there was this one incident in an office setting where
Mm-hmm.
they could tell if you were googly eyeing, the guy over there. So, because office romance was a no. And so they
Yeah,
can tell by your brain waves and your heart rate and everything else, of whether or not you got something going with that guy over there, or they're reading your emails, or you know what I mean? Like, so the other, like, no privacy at all. Like,
yeah,
and then if they put a chip in you, they're gonna know. And again, this can be used for good or bad, but they can monitor your health, so they'll know your temperature, your heart rate. They'll know if you're sick. Again, yeah, that could be great if you're an elderly person and you're sick all the time and you're worried, that this way somebody will actually call the ambulance. So if you die,
yep,
the coroner will come, somebody will come, you know what I mean? Somebody will know. But as a
yeah,
young person, that's none of their business.
yeah. But
They
think
can
about it.
tell
Think
when you're
about
having
it.
sex.
If you
So
if you had one of those things, and then all of a sudden it says, "Oh, your temperature's high, you're sick," and then it calls work
you
and
can't
says,
come here now. Yeah, you can't go on the train today because your temperature is high. Or
"Yeah,"
you
and
can't
then you
enter
miss a
the
day of work, and you're
workforce.
going, "I can't miss a day of work. I need to work today. I had a hot flash
Yeah,
or something or
yeah.
whatever." you know, oh, take it back, take it back.
Well, that
Exactly.
exactly, right? Yeah, yeah. So
it's the way of the world. I mean, even now, companies that have little geo tabs in your vehicles, and they monitor their workers to see if they're speeding, or they're doing something that harsh braking, harsh cornering, speeding excessively, forgetting to turn your turn signal on, how fast are you going? And they know, everything's GPS, so the car knows, and it's telling on you the whole way. And it's like, oh my gosh, you didn't put on a seatbelt, you put it in drive, ding ding. It's like, come on, I was only going to go up 2 feet. But that's the thing, the computer doesn't care if there was extenuating circumstances, or if you were sitting in a bare parking lot with nobody around for miles, but you put it in reverse first. And so you get ding ding, you're supposed to go
I know,
forward.
super annoying, right? But
Yeah.
the plus side on that, the plus side about that is that it also wakes you up if you fall asleep. That part of it, I do. That is good, because you know how many accidents happen because people fall asleep.
Yeah.
So if they can catch you and give you a jolt so that you wake up, or just slow down your car so you just stop driving, or something. I mean, that's going to save lives. So there is things that could be
Well,
good, but
there
no, you're right.
there is that new law coming out. I think I don't remember which one it was, but I think the 2025 cars are coming out with that breathalyzer thing where it will detect your breath to see if you drank alcohol or not, and it won't let you drive your car. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I can see somebody here, putting, gurgling with mouthwash, and then the car reads it as alcohol, which kind of is in a way, but you're not drinking it, and says, well, you can't drive. We locked the car for 48 hours or 24 hours or something, and there you sit. Going, huh.
I would almost think that they should be able to detect it, because there's that deep thing from the stomach that comes up. It should be different than just a little bit of mouthwash. You know what I mean? Like, I would think that they would have it so that that wouldn't happen.
So here's the thing. What happens when that thing breaks?
Yeah.
How much will it cost you to get it fixed so your car will run? Or how much will it cost you, if it just quits working and you can't start your car and you're in the middle of nowhere?
How long is it going to take you to fix it now?
Yeah. Well, I know I had this happen with my truck here just recently, where, it's one of those, it's new enough so that you got to put your foot on the brake so you can put it in drive. Well, a little mechanism that lets you put it from park into drive when you put the brake on quit working. So now, once you start it up in park, you can't put it in drive. So you have to put it in neutral, then start it up, and then you can put it into drive. But if you put it in park at any point in time, you cannot shift it out of gear. There, it's stuck in park.
Great. Well, that's always wonderful.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you do about that? The only way to fix that is get a new part. I found out you can't hotwire, you can't fix any. You have to have that little $10 gizmo. Just like, oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah. So there's pros and cons to all of that, right? So
yeah.
Super annoying, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good old days. Then we can just hotwire that thing and we're out of here,
Yeah. Trying to do that now. Well, even the keys are accessible. I don't know about your car, but some of these newer cars, the keys have little doohickeys in there, and if you don't have the right key, or you can't just go get a key, it costs $500 to get a key made, because it's got electronics in the key itself, so you can't just put anything there.
Like I said, my car is an older vehicle. Like I said, it's got a regular key. Yes, with a fob. I do have a fob, but yes, it's got a regular key. But even the electrical windows and everything is a piss off, because that always is one of those things that goes, and I even tried to have it fixed. They couldn't even fix it, properly. So I still don't have all the windows going up and down. It's one of those things for having an older vehicle. I almost wish I just had the crank windows, that way it's so much easier to fix and everything. Like, Yeah, it's not so good when you go underwater, but how often does that happen? You know, so. But
Yeah.
anyways, there's pros and cons to all of this stuff, and circle all the way back to the beginning of the show. You know, I guess we got to be grateful that we have a car, essentially, and that we don't have any, things happening here that is happening in certain other countries. You know what I mean? So we got to be grateful for that. You know, because really, what we have is what they call rich people's problems. You know, really, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes,
You know what
we
I
do.
mean? So
Mhm.
if that's all we got to bitch about is what kind of key we got in the car, and then we're doing pretty good. So I am
Well,
definitely grateful for
yeah,
that. You know,
yeah. I mean,
uh,
cars have come a long way. Think about it. We could have a Model T, and yes, it's got lots of, you know, less parts, and you could put one together and fix it with one or two wrenches. But then again, you don't have a roof, and you have to wear goggles because you're sitting there with a steering wheel and nothing in front, you know, and
yeah,
it's cold out, no heater, winter, summer, whatever. You're exposed to the elements, and
conditioning, one of those
yeah,
things. That's the thing. So we got to be grateful for that, for air
yeah,
conditioning and some of the comforts that we do have. You know, still,
yeah. So,
um, things could be a
convenient.
lot worse. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
for sure. So.
technology has made our lives better, but at the same time, I think we're a little more fragile. You know, fragility there because now, like you said, you know, one little thing, your key fob goes bad, or some wire got crossed, and all of a sudden your car is sitting there like a lump of coal doing nothing.
That's true.
Uh,
We're more relying on other people and parts and whatnot. The old cars were more we can fix them ourselves. Yeah. So and that's how they have it set up so that we rely on them, right, for everything. You know, that's kind of
mhm.
they don't want us. But anyways, that's not what this show is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, next weekend is Thanksgiving in Canada here. Earlier in the show, we talked about why that is, why we are celebrating it in the middle of the October versus the American, but whatever. So that kind of makes October a lot more special to me. It's like today I took the grandkids, we were all at the pumpkin patch. That's
Mhm.
always fun. Next week we got Thanksgiving dinner. So while my show will be airing, I'll be literally at Thanksgiving turkey dinner, stuffing my face at the time. So I won't be in chat, but I'll check the chat later. So if you want to say hi, do. And then when we do come back live, it'll be a cult roundtable. So
Mhm.
that's going to be a good time. And then the last week of October, we got the Halloween show. So make sure that you guys are commenting, and I think I have the link here. Comment to win on this video that I just posted here. So go right in there. Make sure you like it, share it out, comment, and then I will write down your name. Okay, and place it in the crystal skull bowl. I have a few, but not that many, so the odds are greatly in your favor at this point. And all the prices, all the details are in the description of that video, so go and check that out. Again, make sure you share that out and comment in order to win, and we'll be picking the winner live during the Halloween show at the end of the month on the 27th. So stay tuned for that. Everything's been scheduled. It's all up on my channel, so make sure you go and check it all out. And what do you got going on here,
Well, on
Roberts?
Tuesday will be Native American Myths and Legends with David Null. It's going to be good. And tomorrow night, I got a special story. There'll be a Milky Way short
Hmm.
tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So tune in for a couple of minutes, probably about 5 minutes, and David Null will have a story. So tune in for that.
Right on.
It's going to be good.
All right. So yeah, Robert's links are down below if you want to go and subscribe there. I think I got 3 of your channels down there, so go and subscribe to all of that, and subscribe here if you haven't, of course. And follow us on Rumble and Odyssey as well. That's kind of like our backup channel, really. Monique was mentioning the other day how she went into um, Odyssey and checked out some of the old Hump Day. So a lot of my old Hump Days are still up on there, and so you can go in there and use your intuition, pick one, have a question, like do the whole thing and see if you can't, get a message that way. Like that's how it was set up. So they're still available over on Odysee. So go and check that out. And if not, join us up on Patreon and join us live on Wednesdays over there for Hump Day and a bunch of other things. So lots of stuff going on over there. Go and check it out. And I guess that's it. So Canadians, have a good Thanksgiving next week. Thank you, Robert, for coming on, and thank you all for watching. Make sure you hit that like before you leave and comment on that video there, and we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks for the Occult Roundtable. All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.